First, I would like to thank you very much for the occasion, the space and time, and also because I'm going to present you a portal, a database that should somehow relate you the story of Slovene art and culture, and also somehow follow current events. As on your right side you have now this event that's going on right now with the link to this space where it is, so that everybody who comes to this portal can immediately see where is culture from Slovenia worldwide. And we also in Slovenia, we are always surprised, because today, for instance, it's 20 artists all around, either theater or film presentation, or like Tanja Lažetić presenting her art here. And we are a unique archive also for this event, because the portal has been launched in 2010. It has the previous story was that actually the database was initiated by visiting arts, also Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Culture and British Council in Slovenia, that wanted to publish a book, Arts Directory, with all the data. And then later on, of course, it went online, and later on the ministry decided to build its own portal. And the task was given to Lyudmila. I'm coming from Lyudmila, the Lyudmila team. And Lyudmila is abbreviation for the Ljubljana Digital Media Lab. It's located in the middle of Ljubljana, and it's about 20 years old, the oldest actually digital lab in Slovenia. And nowadays, of course, there are lots around. We also have a network of multimedia centers, as they are called, in Slovenia, and all are now also in the 3D printing and all other things. Here you have an article also about Lyudmila, of course, and Lyudmila has also art production and other projects. And it is quite unusual that such an NGO organization runs actually the National Culture Portal. Actually, the ministry put a call that was open to everybody to who will run, edit, plus operate and develop. I mean, IT developed the portal, and Lyudmila was chosen as the main actor, and now working on it for 4 years already. So for me as an editor of this database, it's very important, and also it's unusual, but I think it is a very important aspect that it is based at Lyudmila, because all the time this database it's never sleeping, all the time it's going on, the changes, and we look at the data and how the data could be better shown to public in different infographics, and I will show you some of these ways. And what's the program behind it? Lyudmila is from the very beginning how to say, agent to always use the open source programs, the open code, and in this case, when we have lots of contents, it's also the open licenses, because it's very unusual that the national portal has the CC Creative Commons license on it, and we have it for the text as well as pictures. And so we write to the organizations, and we ask them for the pictures that can be later on reused. We have this license that it should be attributed and not changed, the photo, but otherwise you can use it and reuse it however you want, and that's the point. Another thing is, for instance, that we have the galleries of images, also the galleries of logotypes, for instance. this is very useful also for our producers, because here we have now the gallery. It's also interesting from the point of view of designer, for instance. These are our logos, and we have 500 of them so far. And these logotypes are in vector format, so they can be used. And sometimes the producer themselves, they come to our gallery to get the logo in very fast from our database. And then, of course, the free images that we have, that you can also find the portraits, events, artifacts, or buildings, and the address books, of course, because the main thing here is that we are a kind of the starting point. You come to Culture.si and then you research further, because we have the categories and all the three of the, as you see, categories from architecture to visual arts, theater, and design, and also this cross-sector menu you have on the left, producers, vendors, or festivals, so you can go through it in according to your interest. And it's very important that we have next the contemporary art next to heritage. This is very important, and we also linked all the contents together. For instance, we have the Postojna cave, that is a very attractive touristic destination in Slovenia, but we present it here as a venue. As a venue for musical events. So actually, here you come into the Postojna cave through the venues or festivals, because some festivals are run also there. Actually, the target groups for we always thinking who comes to this portal actually is 500 visitors per day, and the number is slowly, without any promotion, is slowly rising, and builds up during these years. So we hope to get to a bigger number, but anyway, it's in the statistics we can see that these visitors are coming from, of course, neighboring countries. Then there is Germany, Great Britain, and also America, very prominent in this percentage of visitors. But otherwise, of course, we have the Facebook and Twitter also, and lots of people come now also through these networks, social networking. And it's very interesting that, for instance, the people who tweet, who are on Twitter, they take a lot of time. They come to our site and they stay longer here, much longer than people from Facebook, coming from Facebook, because this, you know, if you tweet or you are on Facebook, you know what are the main groups that are there and why they are there, mainly for announcing the events or communication. And now I would like to show you the basic, for instance, one article that is featured here. We featured it, the Roman Emona. Emona is the Roman name for Ljubljana, and here is the article about it. Then we have some other more in-depth articles, scientific articles about it, and of course the pictures that could be used, reused. And here on the right side you always have the contact if you are interested more in this site. And here you also see that it's managed by Museum and Galleries of Ljubljana. Then you come here and the City Museum of Ljubljana, you come further and see also the location of it in Ljubljana. And then, of course, you go further and further, you see that we have the oldest wheel that was found in Slovenia, and there was a special exhibition dedicated to it. And that there is the new building. We have this video here about the new building that was built by office architects who are internationally renowned, young architects from Slovenia. And then, of course, see also, this reminds you probably on Wikipedia. We actually now I come to this point that what's the program behind it. The program in which it is made is MediaWiki. It's the same program that is used for Wikipedia. It's an open program. And actually, you can see if you go behind and you see how this portal was done, you can make your own portal, so to say, because it's all open. You see what principle our programmers used, how they connect these categories together. It's very important that it is this semantic MediaWiki. This is very important because you can, for instance, with some small editorial changes, you can get very interesting lists like timelines, for instance. If you go to the producers page, for instance, you have now the dance producers, film producers, and here the year of establishment. So you can see what are the newest one. For instance, the Rock Lab. If you now I don't have so much time, but if you click on it, you get to the 3D printing lab in Ljubljana that is 2 years old, and the Center for Sonorous Arts, and lots of interdisciplinarity things, because it's in the air, and these organizations are different as the older ones. If I click here for the further results, you go to the 16th century, when the first institution that is here is the Seminary Library of Ljubljana. For instance, you can find the article also on this. So actually, we are linking historical things with today's current producers and organizations that have a potential for international networking, and which are also already internationally connected or would like to be, and are we would like to actually facilitate through this portal these new connections all the time, every day. And then the next thing that was featured here is one of our infographics. We actually wanted to somehow show what is our share in the European programs, the two programs for culture. This is culture program and audiovisual sector, the media program. What are the statistics for the last 12 years? Because now, as you know, this Creative Europe somehow linked both programs, the media and the culture program, and so now the new program was launched. But this was in this graphic you have about 600 projects and 160 Slovenian organizations that already were in the programs. And what is the very good thing with this MediaWiki program is that here is, of course, it's interactive. When you go here, you see here what organization is behind, and when you click on it, you get this mini theater organization with their, you see, contacts, logotypes, the map, and below it's you-funded project. So every project that is there on the infographic is here. They had 7 projects in these years, and when you click on them, you get the site of the project behind. So it's actually a library of all these European projects. You can go, and also events abroad of the mini theater are shown next to the article here. And I would just like to mention that mini theater was also here in Holland, yes. I was not sure. We will get later on to the world map because we did another graphic now, and we shall see it there. Then another infographic we made was the first one, was the festivals in Slovenia. Actually, we have the articles of the festival. Next to the article, we type in when the festival is on, and immediately here it generated the new block is generated. These blocks mean the squares are the weeks. And here, when you go over it with the mouse, you get the festivals, and the colors are different: music festival, or in film festival, dance theater festival. And if you just now click on one example, for instance, here Animateca Festival, you have here direct their page or our internal links to Animateca Festival, and again the article about Animateca and so on, and again the events here. And it's Animateca is an animated film festival in Ljubljana going on every December, and it's like Animix, yes, here in your region. Alenka informed me about it before. So actually this kind of, if anybody, I must say that also on the Google, because of all these links, because you know, the Google puts you up when you have a lot of links. And because we have so many links, also external links to other, because with the, in the case of event, you always have external links to the page of the organizer, of the hosting organization. Now in this case, to your Hollandisch Larden. It's very up. If you will write into Google Animation Slovenia, you get, you know, Animateca. It's one of the first results there. So this we already saw, and this is our third infographic. I must say that we will launch it next week actually, and we made also a poster that will be also sent over here to our embassy with all the events that these dots here are the events where Slovenia Arts went in. We took 1 year, 2013, as an example to catch the image of it. Every year it would be different, of course, and here you can see on the legend. You can see which are the countries with most events. I must say that it's almost 1,000 events per year. In this year it was 1,000, and most in Austria and Croatia. These are our neighboring countries. But I must say that also Israel had 17 events in that year, and actually the exchange is very lively. And as you see here, lots of dots are here, and of course we made, our programmers, developers, of course they made the interactive map again out of our data, and here now we shall go to your country, and you have all the towns, cities where Slovenes were hosted and guests. And for instance, let's go to Cologne. It's 9 events. And here you can see, yes. So you can have a look at details at home.
But it's not only us. It's not
no,
only
it's also other. Here you see a screening of Slovene films. No. And then it's but also, you know, some events were in many places, and then they are shown, you know. For instance, it was the mini theater, as we said, and it was also the puppet theater, Festival of Puppet Theater and Film in Cologne, and Design Museum Cologne, where our 8 Slovene designers were presented, and there were some lectures also. And here we have Homeland, Mark Pužlip project, you know it, and this link here comes here.
You can still see it.
Yes, part of it is outside.
Part of
the mountain is outside.
Okay, I should have
Whatever
it
that's
later
after the
on.
rain, but you can still see it. It's quite big.
Yeah, actually, that's it. We somehow run the horse to come back here. And now I would just like to tell that all these, as you see, all these events, we are cooperating with all the network of the embassies of Slovenia abroad. They let us know about the event, they are co-organizing, supporting and so on. And here, of course, the embassy, the Republic of Slovenia in Tel Aviv, is very active. And we have the articles also about the embassies, but we focus on culture, arts and culture, what projects they, of course, also some kind of agreements that were signed about the culture. And then we have the visual art, design, architecture. This was one of, in Herzliya Museum, one of the exhibitions by installation by the group Irvin. Then these designers we talked about with the picture. Also there was in Haifa Film Festival, there was the class enemy presented and also honored with a special mention. And the City Theatre with Hanov Levin at Hanov Levin International Festival put the theatre piece Requiem, and it got lots of stars in some media. We also have it here because the information newsletter let us know, and we use this information because it's of vital importance. What was the feedback to the performance in Haaretz daily newspaper and the Achronot? It was mentioned, and actually somebody could go there to see the articles, and also the music. So live, the Gaspar Breton solo plays at the International Jazz Summit, and the literature, of course, some exchanges, and then you have also the links here, the links to the Facebook of the embassy, and also the events abroad here again. So you can always get somehow intertwined all this information and come in circles around and around, and hope that you stay on our page for long and make a connection. So actually I think these 20 minutes are around, and because, yes, of course, questions.
Thank you. How much of the information you get about Slovenian cultural activities overseas you get from the embassies, and how much from the cultural institutions themselves? I mean, theaters, companies, etc.
You mean Slovenians that going abroad?
Yeah.
We actually, because we have the database of all Slovenian producers, we are sending over, it's in 2 clicks you can send over to all theater organizations or dance producers and so on. And feedback is like 10%, but there are lots of them, you know, and it's getting more and more now with these infographics that we did, that now you have it, you know, also on the maps and so on, and presenting it many times. They would like to be at the map, you know. So actually, these events, you're right, these events are not all, because lots of people, I mean, we got the information from the embassies, we got the information from these producers, some of them have newsletters, and actually our editor for events, she is all the time going through media also, you know, so we got information also through media, and actually we try to get upcoming events in advance to have it on this first page, and also then you have it on theater page, just theater events and so on, as an upcoming event. But here below you have also upcoming events, whatever we found, and more, of course, there is the whole archive of all the events here. Now upcoming in Austria, Belgium, Brazil, and so on. You can also here go into it and get the land and the category you want. So. I must say that we are more and more systematic with this, but of course we try to get even from the individuals, you know, individual artists, the information. And some of them now started to send it over to us. So
How many people work on the project?
there is a group of developers that is all the time in Ludmila, and they do whatever, they combine the work, and there are 3 developers, and then there are me and Helena Pivec, we are the 2 editors, I mean, for coordinating everybody, and then we have the writers, lots of young people, even students of musicology for music and so on, writing the articles about the field they know, experts, I must say. And so we are ordering some, we see that some article is missing or the new organization pops up, and we call this expert for design, can you write an article in 1 week about design, about this organization? And so all together 20 people, but we are all freelancers.
Yeah, and how many hours per month? That would be interesting because 20 are not working full-time.
No, full-time. Actually, 2 editors full-time, and then 2 programmers. 1 programmer, I should say, full-time, but they are cutting in 4 parts. And so they have two days in a week we come all together and work with them, and so they really do miracles, because we just say, oh, is it possible to do? And they say, never say to the IT developer if this is possible, because everything is possible, but it's difficult, and you will have to wait for 1 day maybe that it's a smart solution, not just the first one, you know, because you should think that it's not 3 clicks, but maybe just 2 clicks for the user. It should be user-friendly, it should be so robust that it's not, you know, falling down in some, when lots of data are coming in. So actually this symbiosis with developers is really creative, I must say, because also from the point of view of content, we somehow, you know, always try to think about the presentation on the web of the data. That's because it's not a newspaper, it's not, you know, it should be a special way of a short presentation. So we are not copy pasting. We have this rule for the writers and everything. Copy paste is forbidden, please, because lots of journalists, you know, it's copy pasted the same information everywhere. But here it should be original. The summary about organization should be originally written for the international public. Because I must say it's only in English. It's for the English-speaking audience, and it's focused to this audience. So when you speak about this is situated in the center of the city, Slovenians would know it, but you should say some more words about it for the visitor of Ljubljana. So.
And since what year you started this?
When?
Yeah, and the information. Since when the information started?
The database was the database of all the information, because Slovenia is small, as you know, 2 million inhabitants and so on, but arts and culture field is really vibrant, and you cannot imagine. We have 200 festivals now in our database, and these are international festivals. I mean,
these are current festivals, right?
Sorry?
These are current this year.
Yeah. And so yes, this also, that some festivals that are off, or some artistic groups or some organizations, we put in the pause, so they are searchable. You can find them still, but they are not in this picture. When you go to the current producers for theater, you wouldn't find the organization there on the list that is not working anymore, you know. But if you go into the to search for it, you will find it in the history of it.
How can you be reached?
Sorry?
How can you be reached?
Actually, you have here you hear of all the story about the history of the portal, everything, also with the contacts, and also the contact is here, just the contacts.
But
So-
how people know about you?
Actually, we are all the time on Facebook and on Twitter. I could go. On Twitter, for instance, you every day we put on some things, you know, that are connected. Oops. To the culture. Now that this is my presentation is here, and now later on she will be featured, and you know it's all the time going live, and some other things that are not from our portal but are connected to the articles on our portal. They are also here. So lots of people, new people that did not know about our portal before, they see it here and then they come to our site via this, or Facebook, or the embassies are also, you know, informing people about it, and actually it's it has its own ways. Actually, we are also documented all the sites around that have our link and incoming links, they are called. And they are from the personal sites of people who came to Ljubljana, tourists, and then they put this link and our picture on it in their blog, or different links in Wikipedia also. Wikipedia also uses it. But now I think I should give a round for Tanja Lažetić to the artist, because this is just the supporting engine, and we are supporting artists. So Tanja, any other questions or?
We might have later on.
I have one question.
Yes.
How long did it take to form this wonderful database?
First, it was 7 years of collecting data, but for other, you know, for other databases, as I said before, the book that was planned and was then really published as a culture profile, published by Visiting Arts and the Ministry of Culture, and then the ministry brought this data together, and now the 4 years, this portal is 4 years old. And the database is growing, of course. So later on, maybe we can chat about it, because I can really talk about it for ages.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
It's not without break.
You want break?
Maybe break.
No break.
No break.
Back to back.
It's here. Let's see.
Tanja is in residency here right now?
Yes. As part of the collaboration we have for the last 3 years already. So Tanja is the third resident, and we had also 3 weeks working together with Tobacna in Ljubljana, and the residency is usually for about, you're here for 2 months, between 6 to 8 weeks usually. Again, as I mentioned before, it's not necessarily leading to production. Last time it was. The work of Mark is still outside the mountain. We also saw it in the previous presentation. And we'll see what comes out now, Tanja. We don't know. We don't know. And Lina Vo was the third artist we sent to Ljubljana. She came back, I think 2 months ago, August, yeah. And she had a residency and exhibition there. So this is actually within our residency program, this is the only exchange program we have. And we are very happy with it, and it's supported also by the embassy. And yes, we hope we'll be able to continue with it. So, please.
Thank you. From the center, and thank you, Helena, for doing. My work is, this center is in my curriculum before I came here. My video, Hotel Kumarovec, is here in the archive from 2007, but I'm here to show you some other works. I'd like to start with this image. I need to read this. And this is the first image of my webpage. And it's like an entrance. And it's photography from 2001. And then in 2011, I print these images and sew them together. I like to point out the difference between this very feminine technique, sewing, and digital print, and these squares. And also when I put this on the wall, I use oversized nails and put them more. It would be necessary just because the contrast. And is it how it looks in a museum? It's in a museum in Ljubljana, and here is in Madrid, in a gallery in Madrid. And here is, I really like how they transform this image for they do this application for a poster and this flag, and how it functions outside the gallery. And why I have this image on the Facebook, as a first page. This is it goes almost like Olympia, and Olympia is, as you probably know, caused shock and astonishment when this was exhibiting Paris Salon, and it's not because of nudity. This is not the problem. But the problem is this confrontational gaze and many symbols who are identifying the model as a prostitute. Olympia is modeled after Venus, Titian's Venus of Urbino, and she's beautiful if you compare with Olympia. And Monet replaced this small dog, which is a symbol of fidelity, with a black cat, a symbol of prostitution. And yeah, and she's Victoria. She's a model. The model for Olympia is Victoria, and she's in biography of Monet. She's dismissed as a prostitute and a drunkard, but she was an artist, and she regularly exhibited in Paris Salon, and I think that's interesting, and that's why I use it as a main page. And this is my very early work from 1997, and I finished studying for architecture, and then I used to work as a designer, a graphic designer, object designer, and I used this can of Gorviji goulash because it looks like a Campbell soup. I made this bag, and then we went traveling with Dan Habicht, with whom we collaborate on a few projects. We went through museum and galleries in Berlin in '97, in Berlin, and in Kassel, Documenta, and Münster, and Amsterdam, and Venice. I went to, our question was, what is art? It's the beginning of our career. What is art? Is art can be something useful, like a bag? Can you, what's art system? How it functions? Who is the part of this system? And how to become a part of this system? And then it's in Italian, and it's written, I'm also architect. That's one of the image there. And then we started to make a work when we make photography, because he's a photographer and we started working with photography, use photography. And here is 859 photographies, snapshots from our 3 months residency in New York. And we just put all documentation on the wall. And here is a similar work, and it's called Traces, and this is similar work, and it's called Snapshot. And there are 200 images. And for us, it was really important that not any of these images is bigger or better, but we just want to make to show all these images in a block, and to show that every moment is important, and all these moments make in one word. It's something very Zen. You can call it Zen. And here, a work from 2000, and it's apartments. On one side, they're inside, interior, and it's like a portrait of us and our friends, 19 of them. And on the other side is a building or house where our friends live, and it's like a topography. You can make it's a system how to make a portrait of town or of a city, just to make a photography of houses where our friends live, and 19 of them, and it calls home, this project. And here are postcards. Again, they're always there are these small pieces, and we built a work with these pieces. And these are, I was in a residency in Vienna for 3 months, and every day I sent a postcard. No, I wrote a postcard to my mom, to my mother, and I wrote my menu, because mother usually when they want to know how are you, they ask, well, have you eaten? That means how are you? And but my mother never asked me this, so I want to tell her, and so I wrote this postcard. And it happened that I came in Vienna and I found out that I'm pregnant, and then my food habit changed because my body is changing. And I had miscarriage, I lost a child, so I came back. So in all these 3 months, it was like a body art performance. And I have documentation with these postcards. And then when I came home, it was exhibited between the residency. And when I came home, I make a work like some kind of internet project. So you have to click, and it's like you go through the book, and you click on. With this text, I tell what's going on. I explain what's happening, and so it was like this. It's still online. It's called The Strawberry, and you go through this, and it's this one postcard, and I think 36 pages. Later, I made a book, artist book with this, but. Now it's still online anyway. And here is found images or found collection of my grandfather, who his Christmas card collection. He collects all Christmas cards, and these are 15 years, and any tableau is 1 year. And he also wrote a note from whom he received the card, to whom he sent a card, what was the text, and all this very systematic work. And this is a nowhere. It means it's Nikir, it's nowhere. And it's about home, because sometimes when we want to say that we stay at home, and if someone asks you, have you been somewhere, you can also answer, nowhere really. And this nowhere actually means home. And I think it's interesting that for us, home is such a special place that we can also not be in this place. It's just nowhere. And in these frames are clouds with these lines. I like contrast between lines and clouds. And in Ljubljana, it's not like in Tel Aviv when you can see planes every 15 minutes, but it's also no military helicopters, but there are probably 2 planes per day, and all other are just lines, just these trails the airplanes leave. So actually Ljubljana is flyover town. We are nowhere, we are not on the map, it's really not on the map, it's not that kind of city, but it's my home, that's why I put all these images in these small frames. And here some kids who helped me to build a work, again with small pieces, make a bigger a block. And this is my first artist book. Now I have more than 20 of them, and this is, it's only in Slovene, it's Dialogue in the Kitchen, volume 1, because Obrist has book volume 1, volume 2, but that's not my intent to make volume 2, but I just use this. And Dialogue in the Kitchen because we were, it's interviews with Slovenian artists about condition we live in, about what we do for a living, but also what we think is the position of artists in the society, what we, all these questions are, and there are interviews with 11 of them, I think it's from 2007. And that's how I exhibit this work, and with a gallery full of chairs. And on the wall are some snapshots from taken during the interview. Here's the empty gallery. And it's more recent work from 2010. It calls Migrants. These are 400 images, 200 white, 200 black. And white are, it's a food I bought in Ljubljana, and, but it's produced or grown somewhere not in EU. So it's imported food, and it's really, I was surprised how many food I can buy from somewhere. And the white images are like an identity card. It's written what it is and from where it is. Like lime from Brazil, and then on the other side it's just a negative, and this negative is like a shadow, it's like something we don't know. I wish it, it looks like, you probably remember the tracks full of people who are hiding, and these X-ray images when you cannot see you can see the people are hiding there, and this shadow is, it's like all shadows, so it's something we don't know. And behind this production of this food are really stories we don't know. Like I remember some recent articles about production of shrimps somewhere in Tunisia, slaves in boats who are working there, like slaves, and also Nile perch from Tanzania, maybe you remember, or panga fish from Vietnam, and for me it's quite normal that I can buy grapefruit or ginger or pepper from somewhere, but that it's pretty weird that apple from Chile is cheaper than apple from Slovenia, and that's really something wrong. And that's how it looks. I framed this image in their own frame. It would be easier to make a one block, but I want to be independent, to be in their own frame. And this is detail, and this is in one line for another festival. And here is in Austria. It's same idea, only commission work. It's in German, or it's written in German, but same. Yes, I have here, and I'll show you at the end. It's a narratives book of migrants. They're all 400 images are here. I cut away the cover because I think that migration politics it has to be treated very careful. And if you don't have cover, yeah, you have to be more careful with the book. And it's here. And the monument to the unknown heroes is also here. It's there are found images, newspaper images, and I cut them and make some compositions. And it's numbered. It's only numbered and signed a book, and it's dedicated to unknown people who found themselves in such it's very strange situation. There are events, they represent events. They are not politicians that we don't their name, but they are just unknown people. But they are. I found them in our newspaper. So I make the monument, and they are not really heroes. There are some people are just victims. But I use this image for the cover because she looks like a Statue of Liberty. She's from here, but there are much more, like this one, and this, and you see the guy on a tank up, it's crazy, standing there, or she and this screen. And here are nice swimming pools behind broken glass. There are swimming pools from Yugoslav tourist brochures from 60s and 70s. I framed them, and they are taken same time as Evershay swimming pools, famous 9 swimming pools on the broken glass. And his swimming pools are private, empty, and these are public and full of people. And here is someone you know, and explain how I hit with a hammer. And that's how I hit with a hammer. And it's on the left side is still from video, and it's a moment when the glass broke. And I take these 9 images and make a book with this. And here are the images from the exhibition. It looks like this. And then I glue these, I don't know, brokes or scars, or I don't know how you call it. And it looks like a spider net. I like it because it's something it passed. And all these drops, because they are really small images, and then I make them bigger. Here is another glass, with glass, and again with small pieces, broken glass, and glue it, and then make a photography. And then I cut this photography and divide these cuts through the book, and make a book. And then in a performance, I turn out the pages and make these small pieces and put this paper into the bottle, milk bottle. So at the end, it's a cover, the cover left, and the book is in the glass. And I like, and the circle is closed. The glass through the photography, book, and then performance, and back to the glass. Main glass. And this is the book I also have here, is a train station from Vienna to Istanbul in alphabetical order. It's not useful at all for any traveler. I could make work from, for example, from coast to coast, or Moscow to Peking, or something like this. But Vienna and Istanbul are 2 cities, 2 important influence. They influence Slovenia, or our region. These are 2 most important influences. That's I make a connection through this. In between we are here. And this is one of my most successful book, And that's because it's in the history of photo book, volume 3. It's a book by Martin Parr and Jerry Badger. It's published by Fiden this year, and this book is inside, so it's in a history and kind of history. It's a cover. Mine is a cover, and I have appropriated work of Tanja Lažetić. It's her book, Whore, and Tragedy of Venus, and I stamped this whore. It's provocative. It's provocative. She can play herself with Marilyn Monroe. She declared herself as a feminist. Me either. But I really like Sandra's work, and I really wanted to do something. And it's very something from. And here's a video as the last. So it's my. It's a video. I'm sorry. I show you just like this. It's a video from the. I'm stamping the whore, so you can see the book. It's in Paris, so we started with Olympia in Paris, so we can finish with Paris. I'm stamping on the floor, of course. Just during the art book fair called Off-Prints 2 years ago. So I have to make every book. It's edition of 100, and I have to make every book is different. I still have few. But when this
You don't have this one here.
no, I don't have it. I cannot make but yeah, I have this too. That's why I have it there. So I told you everything. Thank you.
You mentioned the gas station.
Gas station, no. Now there are a few projects, but I only want to. I wish I was a painter, but if you're a painter, you make paintings and you can say, okay, this is my work. And it's always painting. So people when see painting, it looks similar. But if you make something, books and then photography and then different, and always something behind that I have to explain. It's really, for me, it's complicated to explain this. How to tell what. So I make only collection of works when these small pieces and when they look similar. I have much more works than this, but gas stations are a bit different. Yeah, these are thank you.
Thank you.
And if you like to see books, they are here.
Yeah, sure.
Have you already decided what you will work on?
Sorry?
Have you already decided on the project here? Like, you already have something in mind, or using the lab or whatever?
No, not yet. It's very open. Now it's my family here for 2 weeks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's for me. It's I have this. I was 2 weeks here, and now they are for 2 weeks here, and then I have 3 weeks and a half to make a project. So it was a kind of this rhythm, and now I'm in this empty space just to think about this because I have few ideas and I still don't know. It's very open.
Are you working under somebody's umbrella?
In a gallery. Right now, no. I used to work a lot of my exhibitions were in the Moderna Galleria in Ljubljana, and there for 10 years I had almost every year one exhibition. I was on a group exhibition, and then in one gallery P74 in Ljubljana, but right now no, nothing. I'm independent. free, which is not always
You can
good.
afford it.
Yeah, it's a decision. It's a decision. That's why I also, all these interviews with my colleagues are because I was in the dilemma, start to do something else or be an artist and do this and don't know how to.
I know very well how difficult it is to publish something.
Yes, it is. And these books are most self-published. Not all, but most of them are self-published.
How is that the distribution?
Through this, I'm a member of one collaborative, one group, and we share expenses for art book fairs, and we are going to the fairs, and if I cannot go, I can send a book to my friends, and they can sell, if they, or at least they try. But I know it's, if you are not there, it's nothing. So through these book fairs,
If you don't have an agent.
It's a gallerist, could be an agent, could be an agent. When this volume 3 was published, I got almost 3 emails per day for 2 weeks. And people are asking, do you have, how much it is? And I have really high price. But now stopped after 3 weeks. I don't know. Nothing happened. But I still have some books.
I wish you luck.
Thank you very much.
And the residencies, I know some artists and visual artists, and the residencies as the form of, either even in distribution of your work, information that in Toronto, are quite often today. I know people that go from residence to residence also. I mean, once a year at least. So you've been to other residencies?
It's only in Vienna. It's not. Yeah. I was in a few residencies, but okay. My daughter is 12 years old now, so I can go now. But before I couldn't. She was small. She couldn't be without me. So. And this residency is really. I'm very excited. It's so. And it will be my solo, if we decide to make exhibition here, it will be my solo after 4 years. I have for 5 to 10 exhibition per year, group exhibition, but not solo for last 4 years. So.
Impression. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Změníme tam, když to?